Welcome to Meliora's channel, your go-to place for C# and data analysis tutorials, products hands-on demos, and insider secrets to keep you at the cutting edge of innovation. Our goal is to break down complex tech topics to a level that you will easily understand to supercharge your skills. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
In this lecture, we're going to look at conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. So, conditional formatting is on the Home ribbon tab, and we just have various different types of conditional formattings, as well as, you can also write your own formulas for more custom features. So here I just have IDs of some students and then mathematics examination scores. So now to apply a conditional format to a range, you first of all have to select that range. So what we're going to do is highlight there and Control-Shift down to get all the cells. And then let's now look at conditional formatting. So here we have highlight cell rules for greater than a particular number, less than, between, equal to, a text containing a date occurring, and also you can use this to highlight duplicate values. We have top/bottom rules, so the top 10 items, top 10%, bottom 10 items, bottom 10%, and then any values that are above the average or below the average. We also have data bars. These are just going to show fill depending on the percentage compared to the overall highest number in the data set. We have color scales, so this is just that indicates where each cell values falls within a range, so it can color the top, the middle, and the bottom. Then we now have icon sets as well. So let's begin by looking at and also, if you notice here, we have something called more rules. So you can customize each of these rules and even write formulas for your own rule, and also specify how you want the cells that fall into that category formatted. So first of all, let's start with the first one, which is highlight cell rule. Now we've already selected our data. So let's go ahead and highlight for greater than. Okay, so format cells that are greater than 50. You can see that's already working. So with light red fill with dark red text. So I believe so if the final amount is 100, let's say 50 would be about average, an average mark you would get. So let's actually change that to green, because anything above 50 would be above the average. So let's go ahead and click OK, and you can see that's just changed it. And now all the marks that are greater than 50 are now highlighted in a red fill with dark greens, with a green fill and dark green text. Okay, and we can also see this rule that we've applied by again clicking on conditional formatting and manage rules. And when we do that, we now have, let's change that to this worksheet, and we now have the rule here. So cell value greater than 50, this is the format and applies to, this is the range of cells we selected to apply the rule to. Okay, and let's now just click OK. So now let's apply another conditional format. So let's select our range of data again, Control-Shift down to select all that, and then let's come back to our highlight cell rules. And you've already seen how we did the greater than. Let's now go and do less than. And now for cells less than 50, we now have a light red fill with dark red text, and I believe that's okay to illustrate that. And look what we have. So every score that's greater than 50 is in green, and anyone that is below 50 is now in red. So we have the above average and then the below average. Okay, and again, to look at or manage the rules that we apply to this range of cells, we can simply click again on conditional formatting, manage rules, and then we now have the rule that we've just applied here, cell value less than 50, and that's what we have. And just to save compute power, since these two are opposing, because if it's less than 50, it can't be greater than, you can just tick stop if true so that it doesn't continuously recalculate. Okay? Well, we are now going to go ahead and clear these rules. So we're just going to go here. So if we want to remove any rule we've added from conditional formatting, all we want to do is go to clear rules from entire sheet. Now, if we go to manage rules, we can see that we have no rule for this worksheet anymore. Okay, so we've gone highlight, greater than, less than. Let's now see how we can do the other. So Control Shift down to select all our values again. So now between, okay, format cells that are between this number and this number. So let's format cells that are between 40 and let's just say 60. And we're going to fill that with, let's just say, a green fill. Okay, or we could do, and you can see how it's changing as I change the values here for between, let's say 80 to 100 with a dark green fill. So there we go. We can see that only cells that are between 80 to 100, so greater than 80, less than 100, are now going to be filled with green and then dark green text. Okay, again, to see this rule, we just come to manage rules, and then this workbook, and then we have cell value between 80 and 100, and we can see the format applied to it, and then the range of cell it applies to, which is B2 to B173. Okay, now let's again clear that rule. So we can either clear a rule from a selected cell or from an entire sheet, which is what I'm doing here. So clear from an entire sheet, and all that's now gone. Let's select our data again. Now we've seen these three, now we have equal to. So cells that are equal to 50, let's fill it with yellow, fill with a dark yellow text, because that would be the border score. Between 0 and 100, you have 50, so let's do, so people that are exactly 50 will have that mark, and we can see here we actually do not seem to have an exact 50 for this data set. So we see nothing. So the conditional formatting obviously will check a condition, and if any cell has that condition, it will then apply the formatting to give you a visual feedback that this is the range or the cells that have this particular condition. And since none of these cells have the value 50, then we do not have that format condition applied. If we go to manage rules, this worksheet, you can see we clearly still have the rule applied, which is equal to 50. But since there is no cell with the value 50, this format will not be applied to any of them. Again, clear rule from entire sheet. Again, we are just going to select our data, and then we've now seen equal to. So we have text that contains. We are currently dealing with numerics. But I'll show you how this works. So if cells that contain the text, so you can actually write a text in here, and it's just going to highlight that for you. But let's go ahead and cancel. So let me just show you the text example. Let's just write ice. Pardon. Ice cream there. And then let's apply this. And you can see it's already ice cream, but let's just change that to ice. And we can see that even though this has more, as far as ice is there, it's still going to format this exactly that way. Okay, so that is the power of conditional formatting. Now to remove that, we just come here, clear rules from entire sheet, and now you see that that rule is now gone. Okay, so a date occurring, this is format cells that contain a date occurring. So we have yesterday, today, tomorrow, last 7 days, this week, next one. So it's just this is for utilizing dates data. So let's write today's date. Okay, so that's today, the 11th of February. So let's now apply this conditional format here, a date occurring today. And immediately we put today, you can see that it's already applied that format to that cell. If I change this to green, there we go, yellow, it just changes all that. So we also have other things, so a light red fill, red text only, and a red border around the cell. And we also have our custom format, which you can customize further by specifying exactly the type of fill you want. Let's say we want blue, and then font, let's have the color also be a dark blue. And if we click OK, then we have that custom format there. We're just going to go ahead and click cancel, because that was just to show. Okay, and then the last thing in highlight cells is duplicate values. Now, because we have a data set of scores where each score is unique to a student, this is not going to be necessary, but I just want to show you how it works. Okay, so we can see we have a lot of duplicate values because a lot of the scores, of course, will reoccur between students. So this is just to show you, so we can use conditional formatting to highlight duplicate values where they are not supposed to be. However, because we just highlighted the scores, this is not really showing us anything because we expect some students to have similar or the same score as others. So let's just clear that. So we've just finished looking at the highlight cell rules. Now we have top and bottom rules. So top 10 items, so the top 10, let's fill it with green, and that's, there we go. So all the top numbers, the 100%, 95, 97 are all now highlighted in green. So these are the people in the top 10 with the top 10 scores. Let's go ahead and clear that. We can also have top 10%. So people with marks in the top 10%, similar people. There we go. Let's clear that. Bottom 10 items, bottom 10% is also similar. We're going to leave that as red because these are the bottom 10% centers. There we go. The lowest scores for the math exam. And go ahead and clear from entire sheet again. And then we now have here above and below average. So let's just calculate the average of this and of that entire data set. Pardon me. So equal to average. Just going to select all that, tab, enter. So the average of this data set is 51 for the individual, for this whole range of cells. So any score that is above average will be formatted, and any score below this average mark will also be formatted. So let's just go ahead and do that. Just select that data set, go to our top and bottom rules. Above average will be green because that's good. We do want to show a color associated with good scores to be shown when the score we see is above the average mark. So there we go. So anything that's below 51 will be formatted that way. And we can also now have below average. So any score that is below 51, we just want to leave that out red. So there we go. And then this is the beautiful thing. We have 51 exactly here. So this person is directly on average. So you can see that it's not being formatted in any way. It's just left blank. Whereas if we now apply a conditional formatting that would say equal to the actual average mark, we can then apply a different coloration. Let's just see that. So equals to 51, let's do yellow. And you can see that's what we get. Let's cancel that. So we've just seen the bottom / top rules, are quite straightforward. Then go to manage rules. Again, this worksheet, and you can now see we have the below and above average rule here applied to those same cells. Now again, from here you can edit your rules to change around the formatting. For example, if we want below average to be a color in more pink, let's go ahead and edit this. Okay, so below average, let's go and then we'll click format here if we want to change the formatting of the cell. So we can, this is the color of the text. So currently in format cells, we can see we have number, font, border, and fill. So I want the font color here to be more purple, like that. Let me go darker. Yeah. And then the fill, instead of this, I want it to be more purple, like that. Okay. Then we're going to just click OK again. And then that's what we have. And you can see nothing has happened yet. So now we have to go ahead and apply this change we've made. And then now you can see that the below average, the cells containing the value that's below the average of the data set, is now formatted with a more purplish color instead of red. And then just click OK, and then that's what we get. Okay, let's go ahead and clear those rules so we can go on with the others. I believe one of the easiest really is the data bars, because if we, let's just select our range of cells again, and then you can immediately see what the data bars are doing. So you can see that 100, if you notice, is completely full, whereas 80 is 80% of the way full in the cell. Okay, so it's a very, very simple way to display the quantities of values that are displayed in the cell relative to the whole data set. So because 100 is the highest in this data set, we can see that 100% is when the cell is all the way full by the gradient fill. We also have, so we have gradient ones where you can see it's going from a color to more whitish. We also have solid fills like this one where you can see it's just the color. Okay, so now what I said about the highest value in the cell is going to be the full data bar. So let's apply it to a different one here, where let's say the highest is now going to be 50. So if I highlight this range of cells and then I come to data bars and I do a solid, so you can see that now for this range here, 50 is the highest. So the data bar is filled at 50. But if I happen to write 100 down here, we can see how that has now changed, because this has now automatically, since I entered this value directly under this range, it's automatically applied that formatting to this cell. And you can see that now instead of 50 being the highest, i.e. the full bar, it's now halved. So you can, and when I take that off, you can see it again. So their conditional formattings are very, very useful. So I'm just going to go ahead again, clear rules from entire sheets, very, very simple. Okay, so that's your data bars. Our color scales are also very simple. So all those things we were doing, the color scale kind of does that automatically. So it will find the bottom, the middle, and the top marks. So let's just highlight all those cells, come to color scales, and you can see that. So you can even, if you hover over each of these points, you can even see the text is showing you. Apply a color gradient to a range of cells. The color indicates where each cell falls within that range. So you can see that, let's apply the first one. So we can see that the one that has the highest intensity of green is the 100%, which is the highest value in the data set. You can see that 1, 2, and 0 have the highest intensity of red because they are at the bottom. You can see 51 here has a more of a yellowish color because it's more in the middle. 65 has a slightly lighter green hue, whereas 98 has a darker green hue. So that is our color scales. Let's clear that. So we have different types of color scales. So that's just the first one you saw, green, yellow. So we also have red, yellow, green. I can see that the red, yellow, green flips it. So now we can see the highest scores are now the ones with the red, intense red color. So for this one, maybe when we have like an expenses kind of situation where the higher amount you see there is not what you want because that relates to a higher expense, you can then put that in red. Okay, and this one is just a green, white, red. So white is just more average. As you can see, 55, 53 there fall into white, 96 is more green, and 13 is more red because it's lower. This one is the same thing but also flipped, so you can see that we have 97 and 96 more in the red area. So different variations of them, and you can also you can see we have more monochromatic ones, so you can really just decide what you want to do depending on your need. Okay, so that's color scales. Now we have icon sets. Okay, let's go up. So if we just select one, for example, using these shapes, because you can see there are directions, there are shapes, and there are also indicators. So, and there are also ratings, so you can also use depending on the values of things. So let's go ahead and see this 3 symbol. So just by tapping it, we can see that the highest top percent that are above average, like 83, 86, and 100 have the green tick. And then the ones that are falling more within the average have this yellow exclamation, and then the lower scores have the red X. Again, we can also go to manage rules to manage this. We can see rule applied, icon sets, format, and then applies to which cells. Now, one thing with the icon sets is you can actually edit them. So you can say which icons you want to say. So we have here, this icon is displayed when value is greater than or equal to 67. You can see that's percent. Let's actually change this into a number. So when value is greater than or equal to, let's say, 80, and then this value is shown when it's less than 0, and well, we don't want a percent, we want a number. When it's less than 80 and greater than or equal to, let's say, 50. Okay. Let's go ahead and click OK. So now we have the ones that are closer to 50 now have the exclamation points. Then these ones that are now below 50 are more now having the red X icon. Now, there's also a way, if we go to manage rules and this worksheet, now there is also a way to show the icons only in the cell by simply tapping this button. So now we can see the icon beside the marks, but if what you want to do is only show the icon, you just go here and click show icon and click OK, and then click OK again, and then that's what you get. So now we can see we no longer see any of the scores, but we just see the icons. Okay, but I don't need that. And actually, let's now go ahead and clear this icon rule. Okay, we can also remove the average. So that is just the basic examples of applying your conditional formatting with your highlight rules, top bottom rules, etc. Now we also have this area here for more rules, which I'm going to show you in the next lesson.
Thank you for watching, and if you learned something new or enjoyed this video, be sure to show us support by clicking like and subscribe. Your support helps us to bring you even better content, so stay tuned for the next exciting video. You can also click the link below to see other free and paid videos on other exciting topics. If the click did not work, kindly copy the link and paste on your browser. Thank you, and see you in the next video.